All right, good evening, everybody. I'm thinking right before we got on here, yay, I get to meet with my team again. And I have such a blessed privilege of talking with a lot of you throughout the week, but this whole live thing is just kind of fun. So I'm happy to see all you guys. Thank you for taking the time out to get on here. I want to just say to those of you who are on, if you could help us out next week by helping to spread the word. And I know some of you do great with that. Charlotte and I post it in Team Fire, and then I see some of you are sharing in your team groups. But don't forget to send a reminder to maybe personally message your new people or your people who you know are extra busy. Just try to promote because it's just a chance that they won't have. I mean, there's nothing like live, okay? I mean, they can watch the recording later, but they may or may not. And it's just something about the fun of getting together. So let's just try to make sure everybody's doing their part to promote. Okay, so we had fun looking at the questions that have been posted. And there's a couple we kind of put those together. We're going to go over those with you. And then you meant, Charlotte, that those who want to ask some right here can do that more towards the end.
Right. We have some tonight. We'll open it up for live questions. After we've turned off the recording, we'll take a few live questions. So if you could hold those until that time, then that saves us from needing to look back through all the chat. So anyway, that'll be helpful.
Thank you. Okay. So yeah, there's another advantage to those who will have to listen to the recording later. They won't hear the Q&A after we're done recording. All right. So someone asked, and especially thinking of the fact that I reached out to Charlotte, tips for reaching out to bloggers. And, by that, I'm thinking they mean influential people or people with a big network. Some tips for that. Well, here's the thing, guys. I kind of considered Charlotte a friend before, even though we never met and she barely knew I existed. But we had friended each other on Facebook. I don't know how many years back. And so she saw my post, and I had no idea she did. But the fact that we had many things in common, it probably caused it to catch her eye, caught her eye a little bit more. And so I was going to do this evening. I was going to scroll back, Charlotte. I knew it would take a while. To our original messages about Plexus.
3 years ago, gosh.
I know, it would take forever, but I thought it might be possible. I could at least try because it would be so fun to look over it again. But I think we each have a different perspective on how that went down. And I just remember it was after I went to my first Super Saturday. We were driving home. I actually remember we were sitting at the gas station. My husband was filling the vehicle up with gas. The time that I hit send, because I was shaking. I was like, this was someone who I had followed her blog, and I had purchased a lot of her trainings and teachings and listened to a lot of her webinars and that for years. And someone that I really looked up to, but I knew her heart by that time. And I knew that if she got a hold of what Plexus was, she could change so many lives. And so honestly, I think my message was just, hey, Charlotte, have you seen any of my Plexus posts? And does it look like something you would be interested in? That's how I recall it.
And I think that I wrote back, actually, I've been thinking about ordering because I had been seeing them, but I promise you, I would never have ordered from Brenda if all she had posted about was Plexus, Plexus, Plexus. She mixed in enough of my family that I knew her heart. I mean, about her family. And so that is the thing. You have to be you so that people know who you are. So you have to put yourself out there enough for people to get a sense of who you are, and then you'll attract the people that are supposed to order from you. Because if Brenda had, and that's why I ordered from her. I liked how she posted on Facebook, because she mixed it in with family in real life and still enough Plexus that I knew, she was doing that. And that's what attracted me to her. And you just never know who's watching. And so that's why it's important to be you.
Yeah, and I know some people are really scared about putting themselves out there on social media, and I understand that. I was cautious too. There's certain things I absolutely wouldn't put out there for that reason, but you have to be able to at least share enough of what you're passionate about, because that's what draws people. People don't usually purchase, of course, because of what you sell as much as why you sell and who you are. So if you are looking for that influential person, some big blogger, somebody that can be a rock star, the best thing I know to tell you guys is to be that rock star, be that influencer, be that person that attracts. If you've ever read John Maxwell's books, he speaks of the law of attraction in his 21 Laws book. And there's so much power in that. Again, being yourself, but being not like your dirty laundry self, being your best self, because you will attract the best people then. I hope that makes sense to you guys, but there's really no secret to going out and like, okay, I'm going to find some big blogger by following all these blogs. You're just going to waste so much time. I would say just learn well how to market yourself, and the rest will follow. Any more thoughts on that, Charlotte?
Nope, you nailed it. And of course, there's a whole lot more we could say about that. But
yeah, but we want to keep this in a good time frame.
We could do a Spark call on branding yourself. That would be a good topic.
That would be
1 week. So
okay, cool.
Okay.
Along with that, someone asked about how do you find business builders. I guess my answer to that is you never know who's going to be a business builder, so just share the business opportunity with everyone. I have learned I cannot prejudge. I had so many people I set my hopes on that they were going to get this vision and grab it, and I knew they could rock it, and they just chose not to. And then there's others who I didn't expect to ever do much, and they didn't expect they would do much, but boy, they talked to their friends, and it turned out to be amazing. So just share the business. Just don't be afraid of that. If you're only sharing product, you aren't going to get the business builders. Bottom line. Okay, Charlotte, you going to take a couple?
Sure. Someone asked about ending messages with a question. How did you know what questions to end with? Really, it's just part of the conversation. Probably one of my most common ones is, if someone's asked me about the products, I just give them a little short something and I say, why? Do you have any health issues? Or what's going on? Just to opening conversation. And then every message back, I try to end with a question, but then it's just part of the conversation. So they've just told me, well, I have thyroid issues and I have blood pressure, whatever. So my question back might say, wow, you've gone through a lot. Are you taking any medication for those? So I ended it with a question. So then we're back to conversation. But the spirit that you do this in is not, okay, I've got a strategy, to get them to order Plexus. You ask those questions because you really want to know, because you want to be ready to know what products to recommend to them, and you want to be able to recommend a routine for them and all those things. So the asking questions and ending with a question is caring for people. It's just a way of caring for people. And then someone asked what books specifically helped you with this aspect of relationship marketing. Really, the first time I was introduced to this concept of ending with questions was from Lori Harrison. And in the Ignite group, in the files, we have a document about things that Lori Harrison, just short messages and responses. And if that's not in Fire, I'll post it in Fire also. And it's just a list of when someone asks this question, how do you respond, kind of thing. And that's what got my brain going, oh yeah, that's right. Because that's real people talk. That's real people, how we answer people and ask questions. And so a book that I might recommend might be How to Win Friends and Influence People, because he talks about making it not about you and listening to people and not jumping in right away and trying to convince people, because that'll just make them, turn off, because people want to feel like they're right. And so if you immediately start trying to prove them wrong, that they're taking the wrong stuff and they shouldn't be doing that and their doctor's wrong, they feel threatened, and they don't want to feel dumb, and so they're going to be defensive. But if you come in just caring about them as a person and asking questions, and they'll let their defenses down, and then they'll be open to hearing from you. And so the questions, it just helps people know that you care. You're not trying to make them think you care. You better be sure you care before you ask those questions. But so make it natural and like you're talking to a friend. That's how it needs to be. Not nervous and, oh no, it's a Plexus thing. Just make it like normal life. Kind of.
I remember hearing one time about somebody who met a new person, and they had a conversation, and when they were done, this person walked away and said to their friend or whoever, I really like that person. They were one of the most interesting people I ever met. And here that person, all they had done the whole conversation was ask questions to this other person, and they weren't talking about themselves. And the person that was being asked the questions thought this was the most interesting conversation they ever had, and he was so delighted with it. So that's just something to remember. The more you ask other people, the more, I mean, they don't even think of it in that way. They just think, oh, wow, this person's really cool. They care about me.
Absolutely.
Okay. We were going to cover the question about if you struggle with talking to people, is it okay to continue just typing when you're talking to prospects and potentials? I'll share my thoughts, and Charlotte will share hers. Especially for someone who struggles with speaking. Someone mentioned having problems with their vocal cords. I mean, I get all that, but I think it's important just to be real as you can. Okay, I did most of my, I would say that 90% of my communication with my customers, my potentials, was through typing, because that was just a method that was easier for me, because as a mama busy with a busy household, I can't be on the phone a lot. And I have just learned to communicate that way. I mean, just like we talked about, asking questions, and just so much you can communicate through typing. But there is nothing like speaking on the phone if that's do what's most natural to you. But don't feel guilty if you can't, or if it doesn't work out for you, because I think you can develop the skill of still coming across authentic and real and genuine and excited. I mean, there's so many emojis and exclamation points and things you can throw in to really get the tone that you want to. I had another thought with that, but it slipped my mind. So go ahead, Charlotte.
Well, and you can, that voice message feature, that you can use on your phone, where you can leave a minute at a time. Then you can tell them, it's hard for me to talk much, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm so glad to whatever. And then let me just finish this, by typing a message or something. And that way you let them hear your voice. And, but the line we have to be careful is that we don't chicken out and use emails and messages because it's safe and we're not having to get out of our comfort zone. Because for me, getting on the phone was out of my comfort zone. Even talking to my own new ambassadors or people who were interested in Plexus, and my husband will tell you that's just not my thing, talking on the phone. But it's gotten much, much, much easier because I've just gotten used to it. It's just what we get used to, and I had to push myself out of my comfort zone. So just be careful you're not saying that to stay in your comfort zone. So
because then you'll never develop that skill. You'll never get good at it, and it could really mean the difference for some people. I know what I was going to say is just like Charlotte mentioned, just be honest, to be real. If you had to have a problem with talking in some way, just say, hey, this isn't easy for me, or you can tell I don't sound well, or whatever. But I just wanted to let you know I'm here, I'm real. I wanted you to hear me, but I'll finish the rest in typing. I mean, just be real. It's always the best way. You can't go wrong.
Right.
Okay, so we also want to talk, of course, a little bit about managing your home as a busy mama. That's a question both of us get a lot. Someone asked, kind of what I forget the exact wording. Can you remind me, Charlotte?
Someone wanted to cover working a business as busy homeschooling mamas. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I thought they asked something a little bit specific, like.
Oh, well, I didn't copy that part.
Okay, that's fine. Well, here's the thing. I never have a down pat answer for anyone, because I feel strongly each family is going to have to find their way. You have your own lifestyle for your family. You have your own family size. You have your own things that your husband likes, how things are done or not. And you have your own routine. And everybody has their own styles. But there's just a few basics that I think are really, really good to know. And that is always prioritize your business in the way that it fits in your family. So for me, it's my morning time and my morning routine, and my school comes first, and then my business. So that means I don't always get to you guys and answer all the messages first thing in the morning, or maybe not till noon some days, because my family comes first. But at the same time, I find when I can get up early before the kiddos and the hustle and bustle of the day and get in some Plexus work, then it makes a big difference. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. You have to do what works for you. For many successful ambassadors that I talk to, they do get up early and they work in their Plexus first, just because, hey, you know the day gets away from you and it's going to be harder to find time. You're going to find all kinds of excuses for not sitting down and contacting people. So you have to make a set time that's going to get done every day. And for most of us, it has to be in the morning. When I was working my business, the hardest to get the train going and get the momentum going in the beginning, that's what I did. It came first. Now, I'm setting it a little bit later in the day just because that's the season I'm in. But seriously, guys, find a time, set a time, and stick with it. You should have a daily routine in place. You shouldn't wake up and just let the day carry you away. You need to get into, you're a businesswoman now. You have to be your CEO, and they can't just walk in and out whenever they want. Or they have set times and they have discipline, and that's what you need to do. So,
and sometimes I think we ask this question hoping that somebody's going to say, "Oh, it's okay. Don't work your business," or whatever, And you know what? You can do what you want, but it's not possible to get to Emerald and Sapphire and Diamond and not work your business and always have excuses why you just can't get around to it. So many times those excuses are just stories we tell ourselves to explain life. And so it's a lot easier to blame the story and blame the family and everything instead of our own getting out of our comfort zone or, time management or self-discipline, all those things. I think, for me, for 3 years now, and I know Brenda would say the same thing, it's just I have that Plexus vision. I love what I do because it helps people. I love what it's done for my family. And so it's not hard to want to do it. It's not, I'm not thinking, I guess I need to do a few, I'm like, well, when can I fit it in? I'm fitting it in all the time. And so work on your vision. If you don't think this is worth it, we need to work with you a little bit. But anyway, and I know Brenda also, before we turn off the recording and start some live Q&A, you wanted to talk some about some other things. So
Yes, I wanted to, while I had the chance, make sure everybody remembers that convention contest is running right now. Convention's coming up, and I feel like sometimes people kind of like, let's see, convention's not till May, June. But guys, now is the time. Now is the time, and don't wait for some last minute push to meet your goals for that convention contest. So if you don't know what I'm talking about by convention contest, get with your sponsor tonight yet. And find out, look at that thing and go, hey, what can I do? What do I think I can meet? What goal do I want to hit? And do it. Go for it. You can. They're all awesome. And it's so exciting when the deadline comes around to see how well you have done. So I wanted to remind everybody of that.
And we only have 2 months and 10 days or so left in the convention contest. But that's enough time to earn all kinds of stuff. I didn't even start my business till March 17th. And convention was about when it is this year.
End of May, yep.
And I made it and did the winner's dinner. I mean, I got several convention prizes and I didn't even start working until March 17th. So it's definitely, don't tell yourself, oh, I can't do it, because you know what? You won't if you tell yourself that. So don't do that. Get excited.
Love it.
And set your sights. So
yes. And I will tell you, every time that I didn't meet a big goal that really was the one I wanted, but I had told myself I don't think I can, that's the ones I didn't win. But when I told myself, oh man, I'm totally going to win that, I did. Just saying. It's funny how it works, but it does work. Okay, and also remember, guys, when you sponsor somebody, when you walk them through the process, or when you tell them, here's how you buy a welcome pack, here's what you do to join as an ambassador, do not, as much as you can, let the backup order be an option to skip. Explain to them, guys, why don't you want to not get your product every month? You do. And this will ensure that it will come. I mean, all of us can have busy months where we forget to place our order, or we get distracted, whatever. This will ensure you get your product every month. And when it's turned off, it can be confusing to your upline. They're trying to look at your account and see how, if you're got your order or if you are commission qualified. And anyway, just keeping it on is the best. Do you have any better wording, Charlotte?
And if you say, okay, I want this, I want to do this business, I want to rank up, and your backup order's off, there's a disconnect in your brain right there, and you're giving yourself an easy out, thinking, what if it doesn't work out? and your team will duplicate what you are doing. So if you're wanting to get to gold or senior gold or ruby, but your own backup order is turned off, then your team's going to keep theirs off, and that means 0 points. and people who are not getting their products and changing their lives. And so it just trickles down that we can't run, we can't hide. We need to do what we want our teams to do.
Yeah, and there are so many people who, if they would not, and Amber Miller, I think, is one of them. Like, I'm talking diamonds. If they wouldn't have received their auto order, they wouldn't have kept on that extra month that made all the difference for them. So think of that. You're doing your people a disservice if you don't encourage them to get that backup order on. They can always turn it off, but for at least the first 2 months, for crying out loud, they want that on and try our products for 60 days. So that's my little reminders for you tonight.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording. So thank you, those of you who joined us later for the recording. And then we will open it up for live Q&A.